again. Jesus Christ. This thing here has got an attitude problem, I see. I think it's on his period. Anyway, I want to talk to you good people about life things, okay? I'm not here to judge nobody and what they choose to do with their body, with their life, anything they want. You know? That is not what I'm on here for. Okay? Now, yesterday, me and my brother had a conversation, right? And he brought up, and he said to me, he was like, my ex her dad called me and told me she was in the hospital with a bad liver and shit, right? Or bad kidneys or something. And I was like, I feel sorry for her, but, our relationship is over. I hope that she's okay, but it never goes no farther than that. So he came back in here, and my brother said to me, shit, you could just fuck her anyway. And I sat there and I thought to myself for a second, is that really how we are as people? That girl did a lot of bogus shit to me. Yo, she did a lot of bogus shit to me. Real talk, she was bogus as fuck to me. On a lot of levels, she fucked up a lot of things in my life. But you know what? I don't hate her. And I don't feel like I could just go ahead and like he was like, just fuck her and do. No, man, nah. I'm sorry, that's just not how I'm built. I wasn't made here to just take advantage of people. That's not why I'm here. And if that's why you live your life to try to take advantage of people, then there's something absolutely wrong with you. To be honest with you, I know a lot of people gonna say, "Oh, maybe that's not what he meant." You ain't hear what he said. You fuck her. You bring the bitch over here, put her in the bed, and fuck her anyway. That's what he said. I'm just like, whoa. That's why I'm like, no, I don't fuck her. Nah. It's not who I am. It really blows my mind that a lot of people really don't give to. It's like. You know what I'm saying? Look, this is why when I talk sometimes and people like you go off the deep end. You know what? I'm being honest with you. To a certain extent, society as a globally and the way people think is really fucked up. And it's becoming normal for being fucked up. It's normal to be greedy. It's normal to be cruel. It's normal to talk shit to people. It's normal to talk about people's mamas, daddies, kids, all kinds of shit. And it's not right. What do it really make you feel better as a person to giggle behind somebody's back? Apparently it does. Apparently this is what makes you happy as an individual. Let me give you an example. I'm going to put it out there, real talk. Me and my mama don't get along the best. This is what it is about me when it comes with her. She depends on me the most, but she likes me the least. Did you hear that? She depends on me the most, but she likes me the least. And this is the truth. It's the absolute truth. Cause I'm gonna be honest with you, she did everything for any other motherfucker we know before she would do something for me. But when the time comes when she needs something done, the first motherfucker she called is Antonio. This is the truth. I need to borrow money, Antonio. I need this, Antonio. But my little brother got a job and he works more than I do, and he don't give her shit. My sister's got money, they don't give her shit. But she comes to me and asks me to help her. Like when I start working in a month or two, boy, Joe, the hand is going to be out like a motherfucker. And I sit back and I think to myself, it's like, really? All it is about, to be honest, is one motherfucker trying to take advantage of another motherfucker. That's it. If it ain't sex, it's money. If it ain't money, it's food. If it ain't food, it's clothes. If it ain't clothes, it's this, it's that. Every motherfucker's a vulture. And I'm really sick of it. I'm just being honest. I'm really sick of it. You know what I'm saying? It's a level of respect and disrespect going on that's like fucked up. Despite who we was as human beings, I'm gonna be real with you on this one. Despite who we were as human beings, no matter if white folks hated black people and black people hated white people, this is on a racial level too. If we hated certain family members or anything, we have respect for them, right? Now motherfucker feel cool not respecting nothing. I ain't got no respect. That makes you feel good as a person being like that? You know, I gotta tell you, it's just a messed up situation. Being honest. And then, you know, I was looking at, because I always go to Twitter and I look at these different people, and I have a lot of respect for people like Farrakhan. I have respect for people who are doing their struggle thing, like the Palestinian people resisting what the Israelis are doing to them. And being honest, I was kind of lost on that for a long time as an American, because, you know, as an American, they brainwashed the shit out of us, right? They made it sound like the Israelis was really underpowered. No, Israel is backed by America from top to bottom, and they are really kicking the Palestinians' ass. Real talk. If you want to be honest, they're kicking the shit out the Palestinian people. And all this time, they have made the Palestinians the niggas of the whole Middle East. Them people need respect just as the Israelis need respect. But you wanna say, to a certain level, the Israelis get more respect because genocide happened to them in Europe during World War II. Let me tell you something. I'm told as a black person, and this is a black person, and I know the Native American brothers and sisters get this bullshit too. Genocide didn't happen to you alone, Israelis. Believe that. And that's not to mitigate what happened to you, because Hitler was a bogus motherfucker. But don't sit up there and talk like, okay, this bullshit happened to us, so now we're going to perpetuate the same bullshit upon another group of people that are weaker than you. I want to warn you of something, and this goes out to everybody, no matter if it's racial or not. One day, the shoe will be on the other foot. And the same shoe you kick the motherfucker in the ass with will be kicking the shit out of you. It may take a long time. It may take generations. It may take a couple of thousand years. But everything changes. Nothing stays the same, good people. I always go back to looking at ancient history. You know, at one point in ancient history, everybody respected the black man. Everybody. There's statues of our motherfucking vestige on every continent in every country in the fucking globe. There were black Caesars, there were black pharaohs. Hell, there were black niggas leading parts of China 2,000-3,000 years ago. What happened? The collapse happened. Now, right now, I'm finna tell you something, and this goes out to my white brothers and sisters that's listening to me. No people get a pass more than white people on this globe. I don't give a fuck what nobody told you. You get it. But I'm telling you, as the same thing that happened to us is now happening to you. And niggas sitting back not saying shit. We take it, we see it. You know, niggas haven't had power in this world since the fall of the Moorish Empire. When the Arabs invaded the Moorish Empire and kind of conquered it from the inside out, even though they were both Islamic, there was like a competition between Islamic groups there a little bit. When they conquered that, that's the last time black people ever had power in the world. Real talk. That's just the honest to God fucking truth. Not since the Pharaohs, the Moors, the Hannibal, on a global scale. On a continental scale, we had the Anansi, the Ashuri, all these other group of people that had these different empires and stuff, but they never had pull off of the continent. I'll give you an example for Europe and just show you how things work on a continental level. Now, everybody knows the name Charlemagne. Everybody knows that name, right? How many of you know about the Carolingian Empire? I didn't even know who the fucking Carolingian Empire was. The Carolingian Empire stretched from what is Germany, France, and into the Baltic states. It was a big ass fucking country. But it didn't have staying power. If you ask a person who are the British Empire, they can tell you. If they ask you about who's the Roman Empire, they will tell you. If they ask you who's the Greeks were, they can tell you. But if they ask you who the Carolingian Empire was, most motherfuckers gonna like, oh no, Who was a Carolinian? I thought Carolina was a state in America. That's like, just like this is how slow motherfuckers be. There's a country in the world off the border of Russia called Georgia. Real talk, Georgia. And I'm being honest, I didn't know that was a motherfucking a country over there named that. Nah, dude, because I was a little bit ignorant. I'm just being honest. Now, let's talk about the honesty in reality, right? In my opinion, it's just my opinion, all right? If we as a humanity, this is all people. Now, I know some people got a little bit more than others. Like, they got built up cities, they got a better economy, they have better infrastructure, you know, namely certain places in Asia and Europe and North America. But most of the places in the world are in the 80s. What are you talking about? You know, how listen to what I'm telling you. My girlfriend's from the Philippines, right? That shit is the 80s. Real talk. I mean, it's not the 80s in the sense that they living in the 1980s, but they're at the development like it's the 1980s. Africa is the 1980s, early 90s. Latin America is like the early 2000s to late 90s. Because Latin America, if you really think about it, for economic development, they are behind, how can I say this, right? Okay. Latin America is going to be but I'll be honest. Okay. The next two places that are going to have these economic booms is Africa and Latin America. Africa and Latin America is going to be the new Asia. That is why the Chinese and certain European groups, like as far as big business go, is starting to invest in that part of the world. Now, there's parts of Latin America that has a war or some violence here. There's parts of Africa that has war and violence here. But overall, Ethiopia, Nigeria, South Africa, as a whole, are economically in good shape. And there are other countries like Rwanda, which had a massacre back in 94, 95, is becoming an economic presence on the continent. And that's thanks in part to China, which wants to do their investment thing. This is all about China getting rich. This ain't really about helping niggas in Africa. The same thing in Latin America. This ain't about helping the Hispanics in Latin America. This is about China getting paid, right? Now, what is happening? Africa and Latin America, right? Eventually, when the Chinese economy hits a certain breaking point, those jobs that regular young, let's put it like the undereducated American masses, with all those steel jobs, manufacturing. Americans used to make every goddamn thing. Our own TVs, radios, you name it, we made it, right? All those jobs went overseas, right, to Asia. And Asia was fucked up coming into the 60s, the 70s, and the early 80s. But Asia today is a different place, right? Okay, those jobs that are in Asia right now, and I will say they will go to other Asian countries as well, like the Philippines and Laos and Vietnam. But that's something else. But we'll get to that whole thing later. Okay, so the big jobs like in China, all this manufacturing in China, Korea, Korean companies are trying to start building shit in China because it's so cheap, right? The Chinese are thinking, okay, I pay my person here $200 a month. I could pay an African or a Latino person, or an African Latino, or a white Latino, or whatever the fucking Latino, or Asian, whatever you want to call it, and pay that motherfucker $100 a month. Those jobs eventually will start moving out of Asia right into Africa and Latin America. And then their economies will boom. But it won't be instantaneous thing. It's like over the next, what year is this? This is 2018. By the time it hit 2060, Africa and Latin America are going to be transformed. They're not going to be the same places as they once were. Now, here's the rub about the world we live in. It's cyclical, okay? The one part of the world goes down economically as another part rises, right? Africa has the population that are consumers. And that is what America looked at as when they started to put all their jobs in China, was that China is a consumer base. Now China's a superpower. Now Africa is not like China in the sense that China is a singularity entity of a nation. Africa is a whole bunch of countries on a continent. And when you go over to Latin America, it's the same thing. It's not a centralized country. It's a whole bunch of countries on a continent. Now, two things are going to happen. There's great possibilities, but I'm telling you, two things are going to happen. There's going to be competition for rising to the top. What happens when that happens? Either economic or it's going to be bombs falling. I'm telling you right now, you're going to see wars come in those part of the world differently than they're happening right now. It's like little bitty civil wars with little tribal groups, really no real interest. But when the economic boom starts to happen, their war and ethnicity thing will be a different thing. Okay? Let's go over to Europe, right? Europe right now is struggling for its identity. Now, I don't hate on European people for wanting to hold on to being European. I don't. But the danger is the way they are turning towards the right wing is dangerous not only for them, but for the whole damn world. People will say to you that the right wing really has no goals in the rest of the world. That is bullshit. That is bullshit. Those countries right now that are talking about, okay, we're going to concentrate on just ourselves. No, they're not. They're not going to do that. It's not going to stay that way. It never does. It never has. And it never will. Eventually, they will start trying to figure out how to push their agenda in other parts of the world. Listen, there are South Africans, white South Africans leaving South Africa today, that they will say this was their homeland, right? They feel like they've been pushed out of Africa because they've been there for hundreds and hundreds of years, right? Okay, they may turn around and go to Europe and take up with a right-wing party and might turn back around and say, well, we want Rhodesia back. And we want South Africa back. And ain't shit you can do about it because we're stronger and we got nuclear weapons. That's the thing about the world that we're living in, where there is no respect on a global level for people that we feel that have lesser than us. I sit here sometimes and I think that as we move forward as a species, not as a race, but as a species, as humanity, right? There is no future in different nations. There's no future in the different countries the way we got it set up. I'm going to say it, and I always keep it to myself, but this is just how I feel. There is one people. There is one God. And there is one nation. Do you hear me? Now, in my regard, for me, God is Amen, Ra, 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 nigga. That might be Allah, 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 nigga. It might be Jesus, 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 nigga. It might be Vishnu, 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 nigga. I don't know. For you personally, right? But as a species, if we keep the same economic situation. See, people have this idea, okay, I can put up border walls and stop all the Mexicans and niggas from coming into America. It's not going to work because the jobs are there. Well, the jobs that are fulfillable, that will people make money to send their kids to school. See, what you need to do is transport the economic success of America to the whole world. And it should not be its economic success in this part of the world, not in this part of the world. Because you know what's going to happen? The poor people are going to leave that part of the world and go to the parts of the world where it's more economic successful. That's why, to be honest with you, we need to have a government or overall entity government, not the UN, not no World Trade Organization. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you need a government that actually represent the people of the earth and an organization to take care of the poor people of the earth. I mean that. We have to actually do that. Now, some people will say to me, this world war government, one world government who will be at the top. That's not the way I'm talking about setting it up. You have everybody being their own individual, what they call state. Like we have the United States of America, it will be different states, okay? And each state will have their own representation. And going back to a standard of a government entity that controls it all, okay? Taxes will be collected. Health care, electricity, and clean water should be rights of everyone. Being honest. You do that, you give everybody clean water and a right to eat, it will be of everyone. Okay? Now, let me say this as a person of color. While you do this, you also make it so that things are built everywhere. See, because ain't everybody gonna be intelligent enough to be a maker. Some of us are just consumers, okay? Some of us just want to work a simple job and go the fuck home. Not everybody wanting to go to college. That's not what it's about. You're gonna have an underclass, but you gotta make sure that they're taken care of. That's all it is. What else? So when you move to doing this, that means you concentrate on what they call sharing the wealth. So that is a little bit of socialism that you would probably have to have. You're going to have some socialism. Damn, did I shoot the grenade out the nigga head? I think I did. I did. I shot the grenade out of his head. Wow. Oh, throwing grenades galore. Anyway. Yeah, you're gonna have to basically change a lot of scenarios for people. Wow. God damn, I have to change my gun. I'm good with this gun, but it's like I can't use it like that. Okay? So this whole idea that I have is it's like a worldwide empire, right? Everybody gets a fair shake. Everybody will serve for the greater good of the country. Okay? There's not going to be an underclass to people that are on welfare a lot. Now, will I say everybody will work? No. But the vast majority of the population will. And then we will make products that will have competition. Like there'll be let's just give it like television. There'll be high level televisions made by people making more money than low level televisions made by people making less money. And manufacturing on a global level. So let's say if you live on the continent of Africa, your TVs are made in Africa. If you live on the continent of Asia, the TVs and stuff, the cars and stuff that are manufactured on your continent, that way you're not importing every goddamn thing. Things are made where you come from. Now, what will that do? Would that mean there will be no people crossing the water to go to other countries and live? No, that's not going to happen. You know, you're going to still have people that will leave their country of origin to move to a new place of residence. You're still going to have people that will move to different places. But in doing this, you will have less so of it. I'm being honest with you. You will have less people moving from other parts of the world to go live there. Just telling you the truth. So what happens then? So we move from a economy with a few places making every damn thing to each individual continent having its own manufacturing base. Russia, Russia is still Europe. You know, let's get it straight. So Russia and Europe, their own manufacturing base. Africa has their own manufacturing base. And everybody has their own manufacturing base. Now, where's the competition at? Here we go with imports and exports. Let's say you like higher-end TVs. Sony's only come from Japan. Okay? Now, true enough, it might be cheaper. Oh, shit. Motherfucker shot me. Damn. All right, so let's look at it like this here. So the manufacturing base, like everybody's making their own shit. So how do we keep the business going? We take kids from all over the world, Africa, Latin America, and you teach them how to take care of their business. Now, I think at a certain level too, you might have to have unions on a global scale, because one thing you know about big business, it's all about profit. There ain't nothing wrong with getting rich. Let me say that. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with getting paid, you know what I'm saying? But you will have to think real hard about this. I think, you know what I'm saying, just giving you an idea. Giving you an idea of what I mean. So if you move from a situation where only a few people have jobs and then most people have jobs, this whole idea of welfare and shit like that, it won't be an issue. But the truth of the matter is, you're also going to run into a situation where I say most people stay in their own nation of origin like that. Like, okay, like, let's say here, I'm African American, I'm black, right? You know, whatever you want to pigeonhole me and call me, right? So, true enough, I will be an American. I'm an American. That's one thing that's not going to change. I'm an American, right? So, being an American, that means I have to live in the region of America to get that manufacturing job. This will also stop immigration from the other parts of the world, because it's not segregation in the sense of the old way where you segregate a person by their color. Like, no, you can come here and live and work for a little while, but most of these jobs are intended for the people that live in this region. So when you go to it now, that doesn't mean that there's not going to be what certain corporations in certain areas like, oh, I need high-skilled workers. No, they just want to pay people less money, and they think they pay you too much. So that's what they were gonna. That's what they're gonna try to do, is try to keep the situation how it is right now. Big corporations have no problem with them paying a little bit of tax. Every time I hear this shit, that they say, well, we pay too much in taxes. It's bad for our business. But it's bad for your business for you to pay taxes, right? I'm wondering here, what does that mean? I'm being honest when I say that. What does that mean? It's bad for you to pay taxes. How is that bad for you to pay taxes? Because to be honest with you, if anybody else didn't pay their taxes, like big corporations don't pay their taxes, you'd be in jail. That's just the truth. You would be in jail. There's no, okay, you can skip out on paying your taxes this time around. Big corporations and people with a lot of money do that all the damn time. That's fucked up. You know, that's really fucked up. That a lot of people in big corporations think like that.
Can't keep this up.
It's all profit to them. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, for them, it's all profit. You know, people get mad when I say that, you know, the problem with the world is that communism is no more. We need communism back. I'm being honest with you when I say that. You need that counterbalance to unfettered capitalism. You need that That's why I was saying, you know, we had this kind of idea of a new kind of government that would help everybody. It would be good. Now here's the danger. That's why I don't not believe in a straight up democracy, because it'll be bad. A few people will try to take over with all their money, and they will, sure enough, they'll try to dominate the cultural and economic side of that. That's why you don't give too many power. Now, when I say this, the world will be sectioned. Now, I'm a black person, and I would like all of Africa to be in one group. But you know that won't happen, because some of them want to be Arabs, and the other part of niggas is just fucked up in the head. Anyway, that's another story. But I'm saying that, you know, you would have to make some changes. Got his ass. You know what I'm saying?
We're winning the fight. Incoming enemy artillery. Get to cover. Enemy has aim. Enemy mortar fire incoming. Clear the targets from division artillery. Target missile bomb mission underway. Taking Charlie. Incoming enemy artillery. Get to cover. Enemy mortar fire incoming. Fall back.
Yeah, so yeah, you will have to make some changes to what we would consider a government situation. Oh boy. Wow.
Enemy paratroopers in the sky. Closing with Charlie. Enemy recon aircraft observed.
Wow, bro, y'all niggas ain't doing nothing, bro. I mean, wow. Wow.
Taking Charlie. Enemy recon aircraft observed. Bomber ready for order.
All right. But man, yeah, I'm telling you, bro. You gotta think about. We gotta really think about it. That's the thing we have to think about, being honest, brothers and sisters. We're gonna really have to. Yeah, we're gonna really have to think about it because, you know, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, you know, if we don't do that, and what the fuck, man? Damn, how long is gonna stay up there? That boy's still up there. That boy's still up there. You know, and then, you know, it's like I'm saying though, if we don't move past our past as a species, there will be no future. I'm trying to tell you. Let me go one step further and talk about something else. Okay, so I know I'm going on a tangent right now, but I was looking at something that was rather interesting a couple of days ago, where they were talking about credit swap exchange, money moving from one part of the world to the next, right? So, excuse me, how's this good for the world economy? Actually, it's not. So, what it means is, like, America has debt. So China holds a ton of American debt, but also does Japan, also does South Korea, also does Germany, hold a lot of our dollars. So when your dollars are in another country's hands, that means you have your debt to that country. We have a trade deficit. We have this deficit. We have that deficit. You know why? Because a lot of the manufacturing of our nation is in those other countries. Oh, that's kill confirmed. Damn. So this is creating an unstable balance in the society, where you're starting to get these people saying, "Oh, we got to send these people back. We ain't got enough jobs." It ain't never been about that. It's about that. In truth, in honesty, I think that would work if we give these. But then eventually, I think over time, eventually, we will have to start to let people of other nationalities start to interact again. It would just be the empire. I'm being honest. You give people in the regions of their part of the world great hubs and cities to go work and do what they need to do, and they will never come to your part of the world. But see, the thing is that a few countries are soaking up all the air in the world. They're soaking it all up. You know, people are starting to immigrate to China from parts of Asia and India, and people are starting to immigrate outside of their place of origins, because in certain places around the world, there ain't shit there. And I'm not just talking about Africa here. There's parts of Asia where there ain't shit there either. Ain't nothing there. So these people are going to start immigrating. Just being honest with you. They're going to start leaving and going to other places. And you're going to have to get used to the idea that maybe your neighbor might be Muslim or black. Or if you're, You know, if you're
Enemy recon located in the air.
ideal in your mind that you don't want to live around a certain person because their religion or their skin color, you might have to change that. You know what I'm saying? Because as long as you have everything set up in a few countries, people are going to start to immigrate to those countries. People in Europe like, why all these Africans and Arabs coming? They ain't nothing in their countries. Don't get it twisted. There's nothing there. Yeah, there's the United Arab Emirates. They got a lot of money at in Saudi Arabia. But there's parts of the Arab world that is as poor as Africa. If not poor. You're going to have to start thinking about that. You want those people in your country or not? Oh, no, we don't want them in our country. Then you're going to have to let them have their own shit. Oh, well, we're not preventing them from having their own shit. Yes, you are. I'm going to give you an example. You think the countries of America and parts of in Asia want the peoples of Africa and Latin America to have their own manufacturing base? You out your motherfucking mind? What are they going to sell? Understand something. Exports are a huge thing. If everybody's making their own televisions, right? How can companies in other parts of the world make a profit? Think about it for a second. Think about it long and hard for 1 second before you open your mouth and say, oh, well, we don't necessarily, we don't care if other people have the ability to manufacture. Well, you ain't been in America long enough to understand what you're talking about. You think America really wants, or Asia, some parts of Asia that manufacture, wants everybody in Asia making their own shit? What if the Philippines made their own telephones? Or the Laotians made their own cars? What would these people do in the other parts of the first world? What will happen to their jobs? Their job market, it will be gone. You can say you want these people to make their own stuff. In reality, you don't. Reality, you do not. Because if they did, they would not need to buy anything from you. Being honest. They talk about, well, why don't these people make their own shit? Let them make their own shit and see how fast your country invades them. I'm going to give you an example. The continent of Africa, the parts in North Africa, some of the Arab people up there wanted to make a new currency for the world called the dinar, the shekel, whatever the fuck it was called, right? You know what happened? Person out there that had it, Muammar Gaddafi, they killed him. Why did they kill Muammar Gaddafi? This ain't nothing to do with race here. It's all about money in the region you live in. If Africa had its own currency, think about what will happen. I am fucking him up. Yo, I just won the match for my team. They're gonna give it to this nigga here, right? Our team, go back and watch this match on replay, right? Our team was down by 5 or 6 kills. I won the match for our team off of a bombardment. That won the game. That won the game. Okay. Now, so what you do is you have an you have an African transcontinental currency. I would personally do, if I was the people of Africa, I would allow the people from Haiti and the people from Jamaica and all these little black little countries in the Americas join with you and have a worldwide currency. Because America's not going to give up the dollar. And the Europeans really need to truly invest in the euro. Right? So what we trade in between us is the national currency of Asia, whatever that may be, and the natural currency of Americas probably will end up being the dollar, and the natural currency of the Europeans, which would be what it's going to be, which would be the euro, and the natural currencies of the middle part of the world, which is Africa, the Middle East, that would probably end up being a currency called, well, Gaddafi envisioned for the entire continent of Africa, like the shekel or the dinar or something like that. And that will end up being the currency of the continent of that whole area. What it will do is it will officially shut down cheap oil. It will shut down cheap this, cheap that. Things will be paid at a market value. Like certain televisions are way overpriced. I'm gonna give you an example. OLED television is like $5,000. The TV should be 200. No, I ain't gonna say that. At max, it should be about 1,000. At 1,000. $5,000. That's insanity. That's insane. That's fucking stupid. This shouldn't cost that much. So gasoline, food, this will prevent people from the third world from constantly coming to the first world. They will have their own shit. I'm trying to tell you. They will have their own shit. When you think about, like, I'm going to give you an example. I'm from Mississippi, right? People from Mississippi don't really come up to Chicago and shit anymore because they have their own shit down there now, right? What do they need to come to Chicago when they got their own economies and stuff like that now? They don't really need to do that. Not really. You know, you have to think about. Oh boy, grenade. So, what would that mean? So you have economic development in places around the world. That will mean people will stay put. The Mexicans probably most likely will stay in Mexico. The Cubans will probably stay in Cuba. But though they will have their own economic, area. Like the Latin American economic zone, you know? This would change a lot of things in the world. Being honest with you, it would change a lot of things in the world. You would have to have these zones like this because people around the world will stop moving everywhere. Muslims, and I want to tell you another thing that probably ended up happening. You know, lately, I think they call them astronauts or something. A lot of Chinese and other Asians who were immigrating to America in the 80s and stuff have started to go back to Asia. Why? Because Asia's an economically viable place. The hell you need to leave Asia for? Asia's popping. Being honest with you, a lot of motherfuckers gonna end up going to China from this part of the world. And that's just the truth. Oh wow, golly, we got shot in the back.
Enemy contact at Anton. Arming Blitz Export.
You know, you're gonna honestly you're gonna start having that. I'm telling you. You're gonna start having it. You're gonna start having this economic great investment. Now the thing is, the trick is trying to keep those jobs viable in that part of the world, because corruption is going to be an issue. I'm just being real and honest. Corruption is going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue. You got to make sure to put in the necessary organizations that's going to make sure that the corruption can't diminish those jobs. And that's what you would have to do. What else?
Enemy captured Kaiser. Losing objective Kaiser.
You know, you would have to, honestly, you would have to do that. I don't know what else you would have to do on an economic level, really. I think you would have to. I think you would have to seriously think about. Yeah, I don't know. You have to do some economic things. See, I'm not smart enough to think of all the things that need to happen, but I think, you know, it's certain things that you would need to do. What else? Economics. So you do the economics. Education. What I mean by this new real education is, I don't think we should teach kids certain things anymore. If your kid is not going to be an engineer, there's no need to put them in some class where they're not really going to use some shit. I'm being honest. We're going to have to start thinking educationally differently. Yes, they need to know how to read, write, and count. And they need to know how to use a computer, because that's future proofing right there, the real talk. You're going to have to need to know how to use a computer of some kind. But far as giving them certain shit, like if they're going to be an artist and they have that talent, I think we should push forward and promote that in their child. Athletics. I think athletics should be pushed to the wayside unless you just athletically talented. Uh-oh. Who is it? Who is it?
Enemy has Anton. Taking A. Capturing Bertha. Capturing Bertha.
All right, back to what I was saying. Now, I think economically,
Enemy recon aircraft in the air.
oh God,
Talking Blitz export.
I wish God of War had a new game plus mode. All the bullets, that dude's still alive. Anyway, I wish they had a new game plus mode. I'd be playing it right now. But anywho,
Losing objective Kaiser. Medics descending. I take the DC. Blitz export. Fighter pilot inbound. Stretching the target. Taking B. Recon searching for targets. Talking Blitz export. Sending motor routes. Zone and sweep. Order ready for orders. Copy bombing run inbound. Closing land home.
I'm running away.
Enemy capturing Kaiser. Aircraft captured. Enemy contact at Kaiser. Kaiser is taken. Counter-attack. Firing for full effect. Target zone locked. Bertha is out. Enemy recon
Yep.
aircraft in the air. Spot. Losing objective Bravo. Fighter aircraft approaching target. Enemy contact at Bravo. Losing Kaiser.
Wow. That girl was screaming like, yo.
Losing objective Bravo. Enemy taking B.
Yeah, you know, too many
Losing
niggas.
objective Kaiser. He is lost. Enemy recon aircraft in the air. Enemy capturing aircraft. Hold all objectives. Hold the line. Income is overrun. Enemy mortar fire incoming. Fall back. Enemy capturing aircraft.
I ain't shooting nothing but air.
Get to cover. Losing objective aircraft. He is lost. Enemy bomber approaching. Incendiary bombs incoming. Enemy aircraft are making inbound. Get to enemy contact at Kaiser. Taking B.
Oh boy.
Enemy taking C.
But yeah, that's exactly where it's gotta go.
All positions in enemy hands.
Yep. That's just my opinion though. I mean, some people may think, well, we can keep our little country nations together forever, but I don't believe that. I think if we really want to be honest, that's what needs to happen.
Learn from this field.
So let's talk about something else on a serious level. Okay, so I just gave you an ideal of my ideal of like a one world, like under one government type of rule thing that I really like to happen one day, but it probably won't because people are selfish and they want to keep everything to themselves. Let's talk about the future. So let's say we get to a point where we have these economic huge zones in parts of the world, everybody making their own shit. Also, sooner or later, let's say in about 100 years after that, you have people moving from place to place and everybody having jobs, there's no problems. Next logical step is then space travel, space exploration. Now, I love Earth, and let me not get it twisted. Space exploration is something that needs to be going forward because, you know, right now, we just down here on Earth. And that ain't enough. Okay.